Welcome to this review of the BresBet Gymcrack semi-finals, and we'll look ahead to the final with me, Rob Crawford, and Andrew Mascarenhas, the director of racing at Owlerton. First of all, it was a good Sunday, really, wasn't it? Good semi-finals.
It was very good semi-finals. Obviously, very good for Patrick. All his four entries going through, but yeah, I don't think there was any surprises in the semi-finals. To be honest, what went through you would expect to go through. So I'm hoping for a good final on Sunday, and if there's any improvement in any other pups, I mean, you might get surprised, and you never know.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's pups are there to improve, and we always hope to see them improve. And then you've got those dogs that are the competition dogs that grow into competitions, whether they're youngsters or older age dogs. They get used to the track week in week, and by the final they're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, there should be fine also. I'm pretty sure the trainers have kept them with cotton wool and preparing them well for Sunday. And I fully expect a very good final on Sunday, and expect quite a lot to come back for the Still City as well in October.
Excellent. Okay, well, we'll have a quick look at the first semi-final first. Obviously, Patrick had a very strong hand here with Droopy's Trade in 2, Romeo Alliance in 3, and Romeo Tomcat in 4. Pretty level break, but then Droopy's Trade powers through to the front, and from this point, it's looking good for those that have backed Droopy's Trade in the anti-phase market.
Yeah, it is, and it's not put a foot wrong since it's been racing at Sheffield, improving every time as well. Very quick away, so it always helps around to the Sheffield. Royal Tomcat was a little bit unlucky. Maybe looked to pass at a few points, but couldn't quite get there. But yeah, Patrick had a very good day there, and I'm sure I was looking very forward to the final on Sunday.
Yeah, and then obviously we did see Trade got through into the front. Romeo Tomcat, a little bit of good track craft around that second bend, finding a way through, parrying down the back, did run very well, and Romeo Alliance ran that regular. The regular solid race that he does seem to run.
Yeah, Remy Light's run very well, especially considering it's in October 23 as well. So Dave Firminger's obviously bred a very good litter again, as he usually does. So we'll be very pleased to get these through to the final.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously onto the second of our we had Romeo Ability was in 1, Elusive No More, the Jimmy Fenwick dog, was in 2, New in Deputy, Richie Taberner's runner, was in 4, but we see them here, quite a level break, and then obviously Romeo Ability hugs the rails, moves forward. But Domino Ho Ho on the outside did make a good start, but then just gets swallowed up by the rest of the field. But Romeo Ability pulling away here at the moment. And then you see Elusive No More make eye-catching progress on the inside with New in Deputy covering those moves, and will be finishing pretty strongly as the race develops.
Yeah, Ability, I know Patrick thinks a lot of it, and rightly so. Unbeaten in the heats here in the semi-final so far. They're looking to get an unbeaten one all the way in the final as well. Elusive More did run well. Obviously, Jimmy won it last year with the superstar Wiki Ned. So it's nice to see Jimmy supporting the stadium again. The New and Deputy dog looks a very strong runner as well, so that might play into its hands in the final. Just scoop clear of any crowding around the outside, and maybe finishing strong in the final.
That's yeah, you do. Even though I think we'll look at the betting in a moment, which has been the current prices have been provided by BresBet. New in Deputy is the outside of the field, but you can make a case if there's trouble amongst runners on the inside, it will be finishing strongly. It should be able to navigate a good course round the outside.
It should, yeah, because it is slow away. It's the most experienced being in the final as well, but being slow, it should maybe ensure it gets in a nice run around the first 2 bends, and then pick up the pace around the back straight and finishing strong on the running. Any trouble on the running, and it'd be very close to maybe picking up that Cat 1 win.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so obviously the full rundown for the final. Romeo Ability is in 1, Droopy's Trades in 2, Elusive No More's in 3, Romeo Alliance is in 4, Romeo Tomcats in 5, and New in Deputy is in trap number 6, and we'll hear the thoughts of the kennels involved in the final in a few moments' time and what they think of their draws, which is really exciting. That we're going to have Patrick Jenssens, Jimmy Fenwick, and Stuart Forsdike for on behalf of Richie Taverner talking about their runners in a few moments' time. That is something to look forward to in a second or two's time. His trade is still our favourite, currently even money. Romeo Abilities at 7-2. Romeo Tomcat is at 9-2. Romeo Alliance at 15-2. Elusive No More has gone out 9-1, I believe. On the that was my selection. My Interplay selection was 8-1 when it was before the competition. So it's now down to 9-1. So a little bit of value there if you are in the Elusive No More camp. And New in Depth is the outside of the field at 50-1. But I'm sure that there will be some support there for all 6 of the runners, and there'll be good support there on Sunday afternoon. Any thoughts about the betting? Do you feel that Droopy's Trade is a worthy favourite at even money, or I would have thought maybe a little tad shorter?
I think it is. I think that's fantastic value, to be honest, even money. It was a 4-1 co-favourite, anti-post. So it's always been ahead of the market, but even money, I think, is a fantastic price. I thought that 10-11 in the semi-finals was also very generous, to be honest to you. If it gets everything right, it's the time dog in the race. That even money is very tempting to people who want to have a bet, I would say.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously, there is the bonus on offer, which is really kind. That BresBet's done that up, and they've extended it again this year. So whereas last year it was just £10,000 for the winner of the Gymcrack to go on to win the Steel City Cup, which Wiki and Ed went on to do. But obviously the 5 beaten finalists are eligible for a £2,000 bonus put up by BresBet.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to BresBet, especially given that Jimmy Fenwick got it last year with Wiki Ned. A little bit surprised to put it on again. So that is really good of them to put it on. Also, the Easter Cup winner over in Ireland, they've got the chance to come over to Steel City and also claim that bonus as well. So it all makes for a good competition going forward for the Steel City, and it's fantastic that BresBet have put these bonuses up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and I think we've got Patrick Jenssens chomping at the bit to join us and have a chat about his runners. So we're going to go and talk to Patrick. So now we're going to welcome Patrick Jenssens, the man of the Gymcrack so far. Obviously, 4 entries, 4 through to the final. Patrick, I was talking to Richie Taverner during the week, and he asked me to personally thank you for only entering 4 dogs into the competition.
Yeah, well, no, this, it's like really like the 2 October puppies, Aliens and Ability. They were so good so quickly. So normally you don't have October puppies in these sort of competitions, because they're normally too young, but they're so much more forward than we thought. So that's why they were entered as well. And they're doing really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the first semi-final, myself and Andrew, we've just looked through that, and Droopy's Trade was phenomenal. Obviously, it wasn't overly didn't have the best of preparations going into this, because obviously the greyhounds went into the traps, had to come out again, and it showed a lot of character that all 3 of your runners showed, and the professionalism for greyhounds so young.
Yeah, really, they're all 4 of them. They're very chilled out greyhounds. They're very calm. There is no really they're not hyper dogs or nothing like that, so that wouldn't bother them at all, And the Droopy stray dog, Martin is his pet name, you know what I mean? He's very laid back, so so is Alien, so is Romeo Tomcat, you know what I mean? They're very laid back dogs. They're very good travellers, because from us to go to Sheffield is 3 hours plus, so they're very good travellers. They do everything perfect, really.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously with getting the 1, 2, 3 in the first semi-final, and then with Ability winning the second semi-final, you couldn't have asked for anything more from any of your runners.
No, they don't. Ability is very special. So are the others. You know what I mean? But for that ability to do that at his age, and he's got good early as well, and I think he's going to be a real derby dog for next year, and so are the others. Don't get me wrong, you know what I mean. But I find sort of for his age, and he's sort of 34 plus kilo as well. He's not a little dog like Aliens is only 31 and a bit, but you know, to have 3 races, 2 wins at this level, do you know what I mean? You can have 3 races and 2 wins in a maiden and a winner of one, but these are running as sort of in a Group 1 puppy competition, really. So, yeah, he really he don't surprise me, but he justifies what we thought of him, really.
That's it. And talking to Ria here at Sheffield on Sunday, I know that she was really pleased with the draw that was made for the final. I don't think she could have asked for anything more. What are your thoughts on the way they on where your runners have been drawn in the final? Obviously, Abilities in 1, Droopy's Trades in 2, Alliance is in 4, and Tomcat is in 5.
Yeah,
How do you feel?
I think they're all well drawn. You know what I mean? Listen, Jimmy Stoke is good as well. He beat Ability in the first round, and I mean in the trial stake. But listen, at the end of the day, the Droopy Stray Dog, they all have to find time against Droopy Straight. You know what I mean? But you see, with puppies, suddenly they find 20, 30 spots, and you just don't know when that's going to happen. You know, so but Droopy Straight can find 20, 30 spots as well himself, because I don't think he's the finished article, because he's a 37 or 36.5 kilo greyhound. He's nowhere near at the end, you know what I mean? So, but Jimmy's dog can find time, you know what I mean? Richie Taverner's dog in Trap 6, you know, he's been around a bit longer, but, you know, if he's well drawn as well. The Romeo Tomcat dog, he's not really a greyhound for Sheffield, but the thing is, these puppy competitions come only once at a time in your career, sort of thing. And if he can cut loose, like the other day, you can see he was in Trap 6 and he goes to the bend, he goes fairly straight, but then he cuts in and he he runs a bit sometimes round them first two bends like a headless chicken. He runs twice at the back of the dog. Do you know what I mean? Before, and then down the back, he shows a lot of pace, running at the back of him again. And you can see he has a 28.60 in him round Sheffield, but he'll have to lead. And I think he'll struggle to lead unless he goes absolutely pink from traps, you know, what he possibly well could do. But listen, on the clock and everything, you have to fancy Droopy straight. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's it. Well, like you mentioned, Joe Romeo Tomcat, he showed great track craft coming out the second bend. I think he actually went inside of Romeo Alliance.
Yeah.
He went down the back straight and showed that nice burst of pace that you just spoke about.
Yeah, he does. He's a very, very talented greyhound, you know what I mean? But again, I think he only had 8 races, do you know what I mean? And when you come out at Central Park and he done that phenomenal run and people say he's this, he's that, you know what I mean? But you're not running, and this is no disrespect to them Central Park dogs, but you're not running and get that level of dog, what you do now, do you know what I mean? When you go to Mommel Green, for the Puppy Derby, you take on better dogs. But I still think he'd be a better dog at tracks like Hove, Toaster, Nottingham, Central Park, with longer straights, and but it's horses for courses, you know what I mean? While a Droopy Straight and the Romeo Ability and the Romeo Aliens are well suited to Sheffield.
Yeah, so and you touched upon Elusive No More, Jimmy's dog in the race, and you've had your in Troopy's Trade in the heats and the semi-final has had his secret weapon being Hannah. Right, but obviously you've lost her for the final.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We have to get some other people. This is the thing on a Sunday. I'm gutted I can't go, but listen, we're a toast as well for the juvenile, and it's just hard. You know what I mean? It's a daytime meeting, and then you have to leave sort of in the morning. But listen, it is what it is, and Rhea does a great job, and she's well experienced. She knows how it all works. You know what I mean? And the Droopy Stray dog, he's not a nervous dog. He loves everyone. He's just one of these happy-go-lucky dogs, you know what I mean? So, while the Romeo Tomcat dog, he sort of he favours a few people. Do you know what I mean? They're all different personalities, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll finish up there. I'll get you just to step away for a moment or two, and we'll get you back in, and we'll talk about your plans for the weekend. Obviously, like I said, we've got a Saturday night date down in Perry Bar, and obviously you're down at Toaston. We'll come back and we'll talk about that for the moment. But I can see Andrew is looking rather sheepish and rather happy because in our preview that myself, Andrew, and Carl Perry did, Andrew and Carl both picked out Droopy's Trade was their one for the competition, so he's still looking quite happy with that one.
Just a good final, so I'm looking forward to the race on Sunday. On form, you say Droopy's Trade away. It's took to the track should probably win. But as Patrick said, they're all pups and are open to massive improvement at any given time. So we'll see on Sunday. Just hoping for a very good final on Sunday.
So we're going to welcome Jimmy Fenwick, who trains Elusive No More in the big one on Sunday. First of all, welcome, Jimmy, and congratulations on getting to the final getting to yet another Gymcrack final.
Yeah, Rob, it's nice to be there again this year. Obviously, we won with Ned last year. So nice to have Elusive No More in the final.
Yeah, excellent. And because obviously Hannah's done a great job getting him through to the final, and I think she's quite looking forward to the experience.
Yeah, obviously Hannah's been doing Elusive No More at Sheffield, and we've been tied up with Ned with the juvenile trials. So Hannah's been in full control of Elusive No More and done a great job getting him to the final. So yeah. It's nice to be a part of the big Group 1 final again.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, getting through to the final, drawing trap 3, ideal, not ideal? What are your thoughts on the trap draw? Obviously, it's difficult when you've got 4 railers. There's always going to be somebody that's disappointed. And, how do you feel about the draw itself in the final?
Well, the 4 races that he's had at Sheffield, he's drew trap 2 every time. So, started his career at Sheffield, debuted and we finished second, in his first race at Sheffield in a trial stake. Obviously, he drew in his next trial stake, he drew trap 2 against Romeo Ability. And he come out really well and beat Romeo Ability to the punch, led the bend and ran really well, very eye-catching run on the day. When he gets it right, he's a seriously fast dog. So, trap 3, a little bit unknown. Is it a trap box for him? It's something that we'll find out, So, the dogs that's in the final are all 6 very, very good pups. The Droopy's trade dog is shone really the times that he's been doing. But also Romeo Ability is showing lovely pace on the inside. So there's a couple of scenarios that you could hope for in a final, Rob, for us to be, to go our way. We'll probably look to, get an incredible start at the 3 and make the bend, and then we've got every chance then. Or you could look at the 1 and the 2, coming out together and probably wanting the same space at the first bend, the same ground at the first bend. And if Elusive No More sit behind them too, which could be the case, if there's an opening, he could capitalise on that. But, that's racing. In racing, you don't know what's going to happen, but obviously the Romeo Tomcat dog's a very good dog. And obviously Richie's dog in 6, he's on the outside and he could get clear run on the outside. So it's not easy to predict what can happen in racing because they are pups and we all know that they sometimes make mistakes and what have you. So, but drawn in 3, it's okay. What we will do, we'll find a little bit more about Elusive No More going forward. Starting your career off in a competition, you can only see what they do when they race at that one track and what box is drawn from. And obviously, we've always been drawn from, trap 2. So we'll find a bit more about Elusive No More on Sunday.
Yeah, no, brilliant. No, it's fantastic. And obviously he's developed really nicely. And like you said, there's, you could make a scenario for any of the six runners in the final. It's quite a mouth-watering final. I know on my part to commentate on, and I think Andrew up in the judges box, it's nice to be able to put on these lovely competitions, and obviously with the support of BresBet. And then going forward, we've got the bonus as well, the chance of the bonus, if obviously £10,000 if you was to win the competition, but also the £2,000 consolation bonus if you was then to go on and to do the business in the Steel City Cup, which obviously we know you know how to do.
Yeah, obviously last year, Ricky Ned, started his career exactly the same at Sheffield, and we've always had great times at Sheffield. Staff's really good. Look after us really well, race novice, track staff, everybody, paddock staff, really nice place to go to. So obviously when Ricky Ned won that competition, the Gymcrack, we always was in my plans to go back for the bonus. And the Steel City Cup's a very prestigious race, you see. So it's one of the biggest one in the calendars. So we really wanted to go back and try. And to win the Sale City Cup and the performance that Ricky Ned put up after, making a really bad start from Trap 1 was a real top race, and Lynx Maverick played his part, ran a phenomenal race. Just that, Ricky Ned's one of these dogs that, wants to win and gives everything. And on that day, that's exactly what you had to do, is give everything to win.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Well, thanks very much for your time, and we are gonna talk to you a little bit later on in the talk about your weekend and other things that are going on. So, Jimmy, thank you very much. Cheers.
Rob, thanks.
So we've got Stuart Forsdike joined us. He's Richard Havner's business partner and owner within the kennel to talk about New In Deputy. First of all, welcome, Stuart. Congratulations on getting New In Deputy through to the final of the BresBet Gymcrack.
Yeah, brilliant. How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, all really good. We've had a good look through the semi-finals, and we've had a chat with Patrick, Jimmy. Now we're going to have a chat with yourselves about New In Deputy, and
Yeah.
a dog that's sort of gone under the radar effectively.
Yeah, well, I suppose he hasn't got the sort of the times on the clock that Patrick's stars have got. So with the rank outsider, but look, the way I see the dog, he's grown into the competition. He's going to run the track better and better with every run. And I think the draws probably worked out for him on the basis that if he can sort of stay on the outside and, the inside dogs with their early pace, there might be a bit of trouble. And hopefully he can kind of make the most of it if it becomes a messy race. But, I think we're just lucky Patrick didn't enter any more. He could have had all 6 at this rate, couldn't he?
Yeah, I know that's something that Richie had said previously, but obviously you touched upon the draw there. Obviously,
Yep.
On the outside, he's a middle runner, but I think he will stay straight out of the boxes. And if there is any trouble, you could make a case for all 6 runners. There is a line you could say New In Deputy is going to take advantage if there's any trouble on the inside. Will be out wide, keeping out of trouble, keeping his nose clean.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he's a middle seed. I don't think he's ever been out 6 before. Can't remember off the top of my head, but
I think he was memory serves me correctly, he was out of 6 in the first round, I believe.
Yeah, he might well have been right. He might be right. Yeah, so he'll go straight to the corners, no doubt about that. But he is a middle seed. But bearing in mind the makeup of the race, I really do think that that's where we want to be. I wouldn't really want to be in the middle, sandwiched in between some of those dogs. I think being on the outside gives us that chance. I think at 50-1, I'm not sure we're as big as that, but yeah, we are a rank outsider, so we need the race to sort of fall for us, and by being on the outside gives us that chance if it's only a little one.
Absolutely, but what's good is, as you've said, New In Deputy is a dog that's grown into the competition, seems to run Sheffield pretty strongly, pretty well, and obviously for yourself, I hope he does well, and we could be talking to each other at just after 4 o'clock on the podium, fingers crossed. But obviously, if that's not the case, comes off safe and sound. You've also got the added bonus of the consolation bonus put up by BresBet for the Steel City, where the obviously £10,000 for the winner, but £2,000 for the other finalists in the Gymcrack, of which obviously New In Deputy is definitely in the finalist group at the moment.
Yeah, look, it's absolutely fantastic sponsorship. Always want to say thank you to the sponsors for putting up the money. It's what keeps these competitions alive. And look, the dog's done well to get there. He likes Sheffield. It's a sort of track that he runs very well. The one thing that he does have potentially on some of the other finalists is experience, a bit more experience. I think he's had 21 races now, so he's probably got a few more miles on the clock. And yeah, if there were problems and it got messy, hopefully he's got the experience to sort of get by.
Yeah, so I'm just very quickly counting up, and the other runners have actually got 21 between them, and you've got 21 yourself. So that is a positive.
That's one positive, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's brilliant. Okay, well, very good luck on Sunday with New In Deputy. We're gonna invite Patrick and Jimmy back in, and we'll pop you in the waiting room for a second.
No problem.
Come back in again, and we'll talk about your other runners on Sunday, and we'll see if we can find a little kennel stuff for people to look out for.
No problems.
Cheers. We've welcomed Patrick back to the conversation. Obviously, we've just had a chat with Jimmy and with Stuart. Patrick's got a very busy weekend. Starts on Saturday evening with me down at Perry Bar for the Laurels with Druid Say Go in the final, going for the big one.
Yeah, she's listen, she's a phenomenal bitch, isn't she? Do you know what I mean? There is only a handful of bitches who can take on dogs as well, and she is one of them. You know what I mean? She won the Yarmouth Derby unbeaten. She won the Oaks unbeaten. Was a bitches competition, of course, but you know, to do this in the Laurels again, going so far unbeaten is phenomenal. Really, you know, she's in great form. I'm not that worried about the draw. We just have to go ping. You know what I mean? That's her game. Leading from the front, she has devastating middle. She comes home okay, not very strong, but well enough. And yeah, that's what we got to do. But it's a very good final with Churchill Sid in 6, and you know the Righty in 1, and the Imes of Sydney in 3, and Mark's Dog in 5 done very well last week as well. I thought so. Listen, if she does her job, she will do 27.80 from the front on a good track, and I think 27.80 will win the race. Do you know what I mean? But if she don't do that, I don't think she'll be in the first 3, and that's the style of running she has. Imes of Sydney broke the track record last week. He was phenomenal, really. Do you know what I mean? But he's very strong coming home, isn't he? While we're the total opposite. We're all early and middle, and hanging in there. Really, that's her game. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, no, fingers crossed. Obviously, the Imes of Sydney looked really impressive, breaking the track record doing the 27.75 on the night last week. But the track was running phenomenally well, and it was running a fair. It was a fair level playing field across the 3 semi-finals.
Yeah, I think it is. You know, they're very, very good dogs. You know what I mean? So you look at Churchfield City, he's a Derby finalist. He won them competitions at Monmore. He's been around a long time. You know, Mark's Dog is sort of an upcoming dog. Druid Sago, she's been around a long time. The Arms of Sydney dog track record holder at Crawford 540. Got a phenomenal record in Group 1 finals, really. The 2 dog is sort of coming on as well, and the 1 dog right has been around for 2 years as well. So, and he's reaching finals and doing well, really. Do you know what I mean? But it's a great final. It always is at Perry Bar. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't swap the bitch for anyone. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and obviously it's going to be the last Cat 1 final to be held at Perry Bar at the current Perry Bar track, and no, it should be a really good final. And one thing's for sure, and if you do the business on Saturday night, we're not going to let the owners throw the trophy like they did in the Oaks.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. They're a good bunch of lads. They're more than racehorses, really. Do you know what I mean? They have, I believe they got about 20 racehorses, the Value Racing Club, but they're very, very keen on greyhounds, and I'm not sure how many people are exactly in it, but you know they're very, very keen. They go all over the country supporting them. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it'd be good for them. There's a first. They had a few dogs, and they were good dogs, but you know she's special. You know what I mean? So they're absolutely over the moon.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on to Sunday, you're not going to be with us at Sheffield. You're down at Toaster. You've got Droopy's Plunge in the Juvenile. Obviously, it was runner-up on the Judgment Night at Perry Bar by the shortest of margins. And obviously, you've got Droopy's Plunge there and other runners down at Toaster. How does your afternoon look down there?
Yeah, we only really have 2 runners, you know. But it's Droopy's Plunge is a very fast dog, very good dog. But listen, when you look at that field, I don't think the Derby final will be as good as that. That's how tasty that final is. You know, with Wiki Ned, he's a phenomenal greyhound. Droopy's Plunge, Buzz Blue, Mark's Dog, Droopy's Harris. The March on Freddie dog, and then obviously the Irish Derby champion Bucco's dog. You know what I mean? But listen, we have to go if we want to have a chance. We have to go absolutely ping. He can do that now and then, especially as Toasty has done that a few times, and then you have to go sharp left. That's what he'll do anyway. And then sort of hold your position around the first 2 bends, and he's very, very strong coming home. Very strong. He runs Toaster well. He can do easy 28.50. I think he can go quicker, really. Do you know what I mean? He's done that before. He's been trialling well. Petty Bar, we run him there. He was in the Trainers' Championship, but he's not really a Petty Bar dog. He's more of a 500-metre dog. Like Nottingham, he done 29.16 on the clock. But yeah, I'm very pleased with Plunge, you know what I mean? And he's in good order, in good form, but it will take some pulling off to win that.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Well, Patrick, thanks ever so much for your time today. Obviously, earlier talking about the Gymcrack and getting the 4 through to the final, and then your other runners over the weekend, both at Perry Bar and at Toaster. And a big thank you to all of your support at Sheffield. It's not an easy task for you to get to us, but you do get to us, and you're always very welcome and very well received.
Yeah. We definitely be back now for the Steel City Cup because hopefully we can win it and do the double.
Well, exactly. Of course, there's the big. We got the big bonus there. You've got the £10,000 bonus, which will be very kindly put up by BresBet, and also additionally, just for those that obviously there's always going to have to be one champion, but the 5 finalists are in line for the £2,000 bonus if they was then to go on to the Steel City Cup. So it's a real good incentive to come back and see us again.
Yeah, it is, and I always will go when I have competitions. You know what I mean? Like with Fabulous Hecka and everything, she finished second in the. You know, when you have the right type of dogs, you go. You know what I mean? But it's just having that right type of dog for the right. Like Fabulous Azura, she absolutely loved Sheffield. I don't think she ever got beat there. Do you know what I mean? So when you have sort of, you need them and. Is it having? I think that ability is a real good dog for, and Aliens are 2 real good dogs for Sheffield, you know, and so is Trade, you know what I mean. So and ability and Alliance, they can go in the British Derby later in the year as well, so they'd be well suited for that.
Yeah, brilliant. That's good. Something to look forward to later in the year. Patrick, thanks very much for your time. Have a good rest of the weekend.
Thank you, and you.
So we're going to welcome Jimmy Fenwick back into the conversation. Jimmy, welcome back. I hope you've had quite a relaxing few moments there whilst we've been talking to Stuart and to Patrick. But obviously you've got a very busy weekend. Wiki and Ed's down at Toaster for the Juvenile, and preparations have been going well for that, have they?
Really good. You know, obviously raced him at Sheffield and ran really well in his debut race back this year, as you say. Trialled well after that at Sheffield. Took him to Toaster and really impressed us to 28.65 and great run, 4 dead split time. But like he likes Toaster, you know, he really seems to really like Toaster. Got back there and fine with the first trial, you know, and you know, brought him on a little nicely for his next trial. And he really went really well. You know, did a 3.95 split in 28.56. Phenomenal run. Runs the track really well. You know, so he's showing early and the staying power as well. And Toaster has quite a testing track. And one thing about Wiki Neddy is that he's very strong. And probably we think that later in his career we'd probably give him a chance over 6 bends, you know, because he does really stay. You know, he's got the pace for over 4 bends, but he does come home really hard. So we think in time that, you know, although he's doing well over 4 bends, and you know he's, you know, one of the top 10 favourites for the English Derby, he potentially later on in his career could seriously think about putting over 6 bends.
That's it. And then obviously with mine and Andrew's Sheffield hats on here, we've obviously got the 3 steps, which will be quite a mouth-watering prospect. If we know he can perform over 4 bends, both over both the shorter distance and the standard 500, and then the stepper forward through to 6 bends, which is obviously a unique test that we do here at Sheffield. It
is, and it's something that if it fits in with the plans for this year, maybe it's something that we could do. You know, what our plan's always been was to start and back off at Sheffield and give him a race, and then go to Toaster for the Juvenile, and then obviously follow on to the Derby. Now after the Derby, obviously we'll have a few titles to defend. So we were looking for the Northern Flat. Probably if we can come back for the Steel City Cup. We would like to defend our titles. The dog, you know, so far he just keeps on just getting that a little bit better. He's maturing now. He's much, you know, he's not 3-year-old until August. You see him that in his early part of his career from when he started, for what he has achieved. He's still a very young dog. If you think about it, he's still a very young dog. So we just need the luck and stay sound and healthy. But, the race at the juvenile on Sunday is an absolute amazing race to be a part of.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And just anything else? Is there anything else going on in the kennels that we need to know about? Have we got any little stars, any gems, anything to look out for going forward?
Not as such at the moment. I think what we've got in the open race scene is what we've got coming through. Elusive No More is probably the youngest puppy that we've got that's on the open race scene. We'll just started some pups off there out of Tommy Shelby, out of Copper's Bell. And they're just starting the trials off, but there's one or two ones there that look quite tasty. So we can look forward to them in the future. But, there's always new dogs coming to the kennel, Rob, and we're always looking out for a real good puppy or a good dog. So, as one comes along, we'll definitely try and buy it, and we'll love racing. We'll love to compete different competitions around the country. It's what me and Melanie love to do, and it's we'll get a real good buzz and excitement of racing is what we love.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, Jimmy, thanks very much for your time today, and thanks very much for your support in the competition all the way through, and generally at Sheffield. I know that it's something we do really appreciate.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I say it's welcoming, because when we ever coming down to Sheffield, we get so welcomed and well looked after. We can't speak any more highly, really, of Sheffield, what they do with.
Great stuff.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Rob's just said there. We really appreciate your support, Jimmy, in all the competition, even the minor opens as well. And it's nice to see the progress what Wicked Ed has made throughout his short career so far. And hopefully Elusive No More goes on to have even half the career what Wicked Ed had so far. It'll be a very fantastic dog for yourself. So thanks again, Jimmy, for your support.
Yeah, and it's a nice, obviously, Elusive No More, he handles the track really well, doesn't he? He runs a good first bending, rails really strong. And I've noticed going to the trip, even in his semi-final there, he got a bit of bother between the first and second corner and kind of got lifted up in the air a little bit. But he was very, very game, and he come through his field and going to the trip. He's nearly in front again at the trip. So we're finding that because it's such a young dog, we're trying to find what he's going to be. Is he going to be a standard 4-bend dog, or is he going to go that extra distance as well? So it's just really learning about the dog and find what's going to be best for him going forward and which track to go to. So, but so far we really like him.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks ever so much. Cheers, Jimmy. Welcome back to Stuart. Obviously, we've just spoken to Patrick, and we've spoken to Jimmy. And Stuart, you've not just got one runner on the card up at Sheffield on Sunday afternoon. You've got others. There's quite an interesting selection. There is quite literally a bandful coming up from the kennels.
Yeah, quite literally. We've got a number of dogs that really suit Sheffield. So we decided as we're up there anyway, we'd bring a lot up there and see what we could get in.
Yeah, exactly. Any ones that we should be looking out for? Will I be calling? Which ones will I be calling over the line first?
Oh, that's a question, isn't it? I think one to look out for would probably be Moss End Meg. She was previously Memoir. We sort of gave her a good break over the winter period. She's had a couple of races. We started off, it was an open at Toaster. She recently won a graded event at Monmore. So we'll be hopeful she'll go well. She's a strong staying bitch and definitely one that's really well bred and one to look out for.
Okay, great stuff. And any of the others? I noticed we've got. You mentioned a little earlier on in our earlier conversation about being the Aero Man, and I did notice there's a few of the Aero dogs that are in there. You got Boris and Chubby and Fish and Magic and Treat.
Yeah, I think Aero Treat would be one to look out for. Again, maybe at a price. I think she's previously run at Sheffield and ran very well. So she would be one that I'll be definitely looking at. She's in good form at the minute, and Bitch is in good form. Are always worth sort of sticking with.
Yeah, exactly. And as a kennel, you're not frightened to travel around. I commentate up and down the country, and very often I'll commentating an open meeting somewhere, and you'll pick up and it'll be, there's a handful of Richie Taverner runners here. whether it's at Nottingham or at Perry Bar or anywhere. And is there any kennels, anything in the kennel we should be looking out for?
Yeah, we've probably got. I mean, look, we'll travel anywhere. We took over the license a couple of years ago now, and our sort of first year was all about sort of becoming the best trainers at Monmore. We achieved that, and within our second and third year, it's trying to get those decent open class dogs into the kennel so we can go traveling. I think in terms of ones to look out for, probably Aero Academy and Droopy's Maximus. They're both really nice new recruits into the kennel that we're hoping could be Derby dogs. They're still young, but they're very strong running, so they should suit Toaster. So there'll be two to look out for.
Excellent. Okay, wonderful. Well, good luck at the weekend, and
Thank you.
what we do appreciate your support here at Sheffield and
No problem.
everywhere else. And I know Andrew definitely appreciates the support that Richie's given, and we'll be seeing a lot of kennel dogs on Sunday afternoon as
Absolutely.
into the future here at Sheffield.
Definitely.
Great stuff. Thanks ever so much.
Take care.